Karuna Gauranga Prabhu and all the other wonderful Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who have assembled here. Thank you for kindly having me. Before we get started on this discussion, I just ask the devotees, what is the way out? Because I do see a lag between the video and the audio. So do you also experience the same when you see me speak? Is the audio and the video not in sync? In that case, do we switch off the video to save bandwidth, or are you able to see me? Are you able to see the video and hear the audio? In proper. Okay. See group chat saying that it's working fine for everyone. So, dear Karuna Gauranga Prabhu, would this be a good time to begin?
Yes, please.
Okay. Om Jnanatmyandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Akshurmilitam Yen Smai Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yen Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahikam Jai Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So very grateful for this opportunity. Thank you, dear devotees, for kindly joining in. You have perhaps better things to do and better places to invest your time and energy. But I'm very grateful that you have kindly agreed to bless me with your auspicious participation in this discussion. So I have been asked to speak on the topic of Rath Yatra because this is the theme of the Jagannath Rath Yatra ceremony. We see Snan Yatra and Rath Yatra around the corner. We celebrated Snan Yatra and Rath Yatra is about to come, the Jagannath Rath Yatra. Yet at the same time, as our Karuna Gauranga Prabhu announced, that we are also celebrating this on the occasion of the very historic and very dear to our heart, the New York Rath Yatra. So this discussion, I have been asked to speak from the Madhya Lila, chapter 13, Chaitanya at Sri Jagannath's Rath Yatra ceremony. However, Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has expanded on this topic for over 200 Bengali verses. And since our discussion is only about an hour long, it is almost impossible for me to do that. But however, our Karuna Gauranga Prabhu in the theme section of the email had mentioned if we can have some discussion on the history of Jagannath, the relevance of Jagannath worship in our tradition, and at the same time, the historic significance of the Rath Yatra. So today's discussion, I would like to take on that theme because it's easier for me to try to share a few thoughts on that topic in the time that we have allotted for this discussion. Krishna willing, when we have more time in hand, we will go through those descriptions of Mahaprabhu's ecstasy described by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So Sri Jagannath, this very beautifully attractive form of the Lord, is one of the most prominent deities that Srila Prabhupada established all around the ISKCON centers in the world. And Prabhupada personally had a lot of affection and attachment to this form of Jagannath. As we know, Srila Prabhupada, when he was a child, he was only about 5 years old when he put together the famous Jagannath Rath Yatra on the streets of Calcutta. And when he grew up, Prabhupada in his own words would mention that he would again and again look at the time, either the wristwatch or the wall clock, to see how many more trains are there for the day which take him to Jagannath Puri. Prabhupada was very interested to see the timetable, to schedule, to see how many different trains are allotted that day for him to commute, to travel to Jagannath Puri. So he would see which is the next possible train that I could take. So that's how eager our Prabhupada was. Also later we know when Srila Prabhupada established ISKCON in 1966, Prabhupada took Jagannath all over the world, starting with San Francisco and the historic Rath Yatra, where our Vishwajan Swami Maharaj did kirtan with gloves in his hands, protecting his fingers, which were bleeding, by playing the mridanga and singing for close to 6-7 hours. And Jayananda Prabhu bringing in the cart and devotees working, and that historic video where Srila Prabhupada is dancing in ecstasy and devotees in thousands and thousands of in huge numbers participating and dancing and singing the glories of Jagannath. Prabhupada loved this festival so much that he renamed San Francisco to be New Jagannath Puri. So this is how Prabhupada was attached to Jagannath, whether it is in his childhood, building the cart festival for the children, or in his youth, when he would look at the schedule for the next train to Jagannath Puri, or in his old age, or the youth of his preaching in the Western world, by establishing Rath Yatras all over the world and Jagannath deities all over the world. This is how much attachment Prabhupada had to Jagannath. Srila Prabhupada of Rath Yatra outside Jagannath Puri, and he started establishing and installing Jagannath deities all over the world. The priests in Jagannath Puri temple, they had a problem. They said, you cannot take Jagannath outside. So Prabhupada told them that Jagannath is the Lord of the universe. He is Jagannath. He is not Odiyanath. He is not the Lord of just a small province called Orissa in India, where Jagannath Puri is prominent. He's the Lord of the universe. So you've been restricting the Lord of the universe in one bedroom of his house, and it's my duty to free him and take him around. But took him for a world tour because he's the king of the world. Also, the British were very perplexed. They were pretty bewildered to think about this fact. How is it article? How is it that lakhs of people, in millions, literally in millions, people would assemble on a certain day in Jagannath Puri early in the morning, and they would pull this beautiful cart festival, pull Jagannath to the Vrindavan of their heart. And at the same time, that night they would return. Next day again, it's vacant. The streets of Jagannath Puri are empty. One day before it's empty, one day after it's empty. How is it that on a specific day, which changes every year, millions of people, they assemble in that place and pull the Lord of their heart to the Vrindavan of their heart with so much devotion and affection? Who is the one who spreads this news? How is it without any social media announcements that people get to know about? Even because they were thinking that this human assembly of devotees, it leads to stampede, and it's therefore they wrote even articles suggesting that this Rath Yatra should be stopped because it's a threat to human life. People can get smothered and killed, and because of stampede, it's injurious. So they wrote all of that, but somehow the British could not stop the Rath Yatra in Jagannath Puri. But by Prabhupada's inconceivable hard work and diligent endeavor in surrender to the words of his spiritual master, British could not stop it, the Rath Yatra in Jagannath Puri. But Prabhupada, when the British gave it up, they said, let it continue. So in this way, Prabhupada was very attached to Jagannath, Baladev and Subhadra. Surely enough, we see how his Gurudev, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, he appeared in Jagannath Puri. So this land is very dear to Saraswati Thakur as not just as the eternal Lord, the eternal land of his Lord, but also as his birthplace, where Bhaktivinoda Thakur nourished Saraswati Thakur with so much affection. Manifest pastimes, Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur Prabhu took residence in Jagannath Puri, Gaudiya Math, and there he would, with one-pointed determination and dedicated devotion, this land of Jagannath Puri is considered to be Purushottam Kshetra. It is called in the Shastras as Purushottam Kshetra. Kshetra means a piece of land, and Purushottama is another name for Krishna, meaning he who is the best among all living beings. Purusha means living being, and among all living beings, he is the supreme enjoyer, the supreme benefactor, and the supreme controller of everything, yet he remains as our ever well-wishing best friend in the core of our hearts. So this is Jagannath Puri. So many different scriptures describe different Puranas. Vyasadeva fills it chapter after chapter glorifying this land of Purushottam Kshetra or Jagannath Puri. But very specifically, in a chapter called as the Purushottam Kshetra Mahatmya, the Skanda Puran, there is a very beautiful historic narration about the glories of this land. It's a very long narration with many beautiful subsections in it, but I will try to skim through to the essence so that we can appreciate the historic and spiritual significance of this tract of land. In that section of the Purushottam Kshetra Mahatmya of the Skanda Puran, there is a discussion between sages, and they're talking amongst one another. How can living beings in this world get self-realization? How can they get the mercy of the Supreme Lord? So in due course of this discussion, they come up with different beautiful points. And one out of them is a history of how Brahma, the secondary creator of this world, was in anxiety. Brahma created, of course, Vishnu is the primary creator and Brahma is the secondary creator. Vishnu brings in all the ingredients of creation and Brahma puts them to at his own sweet will. So he is the, as far as the secondary creation is concerned, he is the creator, the partial maintainer, we can say. Ultimately, the creator, maintainer, and destroyer is Vishnu. So when Brahma was putting these things together and assembling his universe, where everyone has to go through sevenfold miseries: birth, old age, disease, and death. It's excruciating pain when a child is helplessly stuck in the womb of the mother. It's almost like a bag where the child can't move. He tries to move and tries to get out of that place, but he's stuck. And then he's passing stool and urine in that womb of the mother. And his body is not even formed completely. The skin is not formed completely. And the microbes and the different kinds of living beings, because of the presence of stool and urine and blood, they start biting the body of the child. And over and above that, the child, as the saying goes, to rub salt on the wound. The whole body is like a wound because the skin is being formed. And amidst all that, the habits of the mother, the eating habits of the mother, let's say the mother smokes a cigarette or the mother eats something which is very pungent, hot, as far as even temperature is concerned, all of these foodstuffs and all of these habits, they cause further excruciating, horrifying pain in the life of that living being. And the living being is tossing in that womb, attempting to get out. And this goes on for 9 months, goes on for 37 weeks, 36 weeks. So we don't consider that as pain. Death, we haven't faced it yet. Old age, it's a long phase of suffering where the health deteriorates and our dependence on others increase. And that causes physical pain and emotional pain. At one point, everyone was depending on me and I was self-sufficient. But now even to get a glass of water, I find it difficult to walk from one room to another. And if I ask help from someone else, it's almost like they're doing a favor to me by giving me a glass of water. So that's old age. And then disease that keeps coming in the middle, like the constant background violin that goes on, whether it's toothache, whether it's headache, whether it's stomach ache, indigestion, what God knows what not. So we have birth, old age, disease, and death. We all are in a body, B-O-D-Y. So that's like the acronym for what we go through. B stands for birth, O stands for old age, D stands for disease, and Y stands for death or Yamaraj. So we go through these four-fold suffering, and then the threefold suffering, which adds up to 4 + 3, 7. That is suffering caused by others, suffering caused by our own mind, and suffering caused by natural adi bhutik adhyatmika klesha. So these 7 miseries are tossing the living being, and Brahma is creating all of this, and he felt very guilty that I am creating this world of suffering where the living beings are just going to suffer. They're going to suffer death. They're going to suffer birth. They're going to suffer from old age. They're going to suffer from disease. They're going to suffer from hunger and thirst and anxiety. So much suffering. Brahma went to the Supreme Lord Sri Vishnu and he said, my Lord, what kind of service is this where I have to create this world called as dukkha, and it is temporary, ashashvatam? How will these living beings ever get liberation? How can they ever get out of this mesh of rebirth and death? It's almost like a recurring current. They are in a deplorable state of material anxiety, and then amidst that circumstantial situation, they make mistakes. As a result, they suffer more with reactions, and they're going down and down and down as far as the consciousness is concerned. They're put in even more problematic, passionate and ignorant based, passionate in the sense rajas, and ignorance in the sense tamas, situations governed by these modes. And how will they get out of this whole problematic scenario? It's a total fiasco. My Lord, please help me. So Vishnu, very mercifully and compassionately, he spoke to Brahma. And he said, amidst this creation, there's one tract of land. It is called as Nilachala Dham. Nila means blue, sapphire, like effulgent and radiant. So therefore, sometimes it's also called as Niladri. Adri means a mountain, and Nila again means blue. So blue sapphire radiant mountain, Nilachala or Niladri, which we call as Jagannath Puri or Purushottam Kshetra. Sri Vishnu introduced the concept of this dham to Brahma, and he gave the geographical positioning of this place, and he glorified this land to Brahma. And Vishnu said, this land is so great that even during the time of total annihilation, there is no destruction to this tract of land. Therefore, if the living being who's born in the meshes of this, who's stuck in the complicated meshes of birth and death, if he can in his life visit this tract of land and take of a very beautiful form of mind, said Vishnu, called as Nila Madhava, along with my eternal consort Lakshmi. If any fortunate living being can traverse the path, find or Jagannath Puri as we call it, and if he can take the darshan of Nila Madhava and Lakshmi Devi, then he will get out of this birth and death cycle. And this is my promise. So Brahma said, charity begins at home. Let me start first with myself. Brahma found the place with the geographical descriptions given by Vishnu. And on the banks of this wish-fulfilling Kalpavriksha tree, there was a pond water called as Rohini Kund. And Brahma was on the banks of this pond, and he was trying to figure out whether this is the place that is the storehouse of all good fortune. As he was contemplating and trying to decide on this point, there was a crow which was thirsty, which dipped down on the water. It sipped the water, but as it quenched its thirst, even its thirst of material desires got quenched, which means touching the water of Rohini Kund, the crow gave up its body and attained a four-handed form of an eternal associate of Vishnu and went back home, back to Godhead. When Brahma saw this, he was astonished, he was astounded by the power potency of this land. If an insignificant, contaminated, sinful, fallen creature like the crow can touch the waters of Rohini Kund and become an eternal associate for very effulgently beautiful hands and arms, what to speak of those who very favorably in this human form of life worship Nila Madhava in Purushottam Kshetra. So Brahma became even more eager. So in this enthusiastic, eager mood, he went and took darshan of Nila Madhava with Lakshmi Devi. But however, as he was taking darshan of the divine couple there was one person who came to speak his heart out in confusion. Yamaraj also came there to offer his thoughts at the lotus feet of Nila Madhava and Lakshmi. Yamaraj said, "My lord, you have given me the service of punishing sinful beings. But seems like I don't need to work anymore because all the living beings were sinful. They're just coming to Jagannath Puri and they're getting liberated." I just saw this interesting sight, said Yamaraj, where crow, which generally feast on garbage, such an insignificant crow, such a sinful crow, is dipping down to the waters of Rohini Kund here at Purushottam Kshetra and is giving its body and attaining the four-handed associate form as an eternal associate and companion. I request the devotees, if we are not taking questions at the moment, it'll be nice if you can kindly mute your mics so that it doesn't cause any disturbance to the other participants. So Yamaraj, as he was really
right here.
So Yamaraj, as he was really concerned about what's happening, expressed his heart out to Nila Madhava and Lakshmi Devi. And at that time, Lakshmi Devi spoke to Yamaraj and said, "Yamaraj, you are punishing the sinful beings of Jagannath. The position is that of a punisher, a chastiser of sinful beings outside Jagannath Puri, not in Jagannath Puri. This is the house of the Supreme Lord Sri Nila Madhava. This is Purushottam Kshetra, right? So in this land, you have no service because there's no one sinful here. Even the crow here is an eternal associate. Therefore, O Yamaraj, you should also take shelter of this land and you should also make spiritual advancement." So when Yamaraj heard this, he was very, very inspired to take you will get the benefit of circumambulating all the pastime places around Bhumandala, Mother Earth. If someone even rests with their back on the floor in Jagannath Puri or Purushottam Kshetra, they get the benefit of one-pointed contemplative meditative samadhi. If someone speaks even one word of the Shastra here, which are explained in the Shastra, just by one word. In fact, it goes on to say that anyone who accepts even one grain in Jagannath Puri or Purushottam Kshetra of food, they get the benefit of accepting Havishyan, which is prasad of the Lord. So by taking bhoga also, they get the benefit of honoring prasad. What to speak of accepting prasad then? If taking one step into Purushottam Kshetra gives the benefit of circumambulating the place, what to speak of actually circumambulating Jagannath Puri? If resting on the back gives the benefit of meditative, contemplative samadhi, then what to speak of the benefit which can be amassed by actually getting into contemplative meditation? So Yamaraj, you should also take shelter of this land and don't think of punishing anyone here. They're all beyond your jurisdiction. This land is so great that even Markandeya Rishi worshipped Lord Shiva here. And there is a nice Shiva Linga called Markandeshwar Mahadev. And there is a Markandeya Sarovar, a pond dedicated, commemorating this meditative samadhi attained by Markandeya Rishi here. So being inspired, Yamaraj also worshipped Lord Shiva. And that linga today also is called as Yameshwar Mahadev. Yameshwar to call it. Instruction to Yamaraj that you should not punish anyone and you should take shelter of this land and be free from all material contamination yourself. And the instruction to Brahma was, dear Brahma, Nila Madhav said, that now I am present in this land as Nila Madhava, and I will be present in this form till your 50th birthday. So Brahma lives 311 trillion 40 billion years. That's the earthly calculation. But from Brahma, so when he finishes 50 years, which is half of his life, which is about 150, let's say, trillion years, which is the half of the total duration of Brahma's lifespan according to earthly calculation. So Nila Madhava said, when you celebrate your 50th birthday, it'll be the half portion, you'll be done with 50% of life. I, in this form as Nila Madhava, I would disappear from Purushottam Kshetra. And I will reappear in another form. And at that time, you have to help King Indradyumna establish that form with a very wonderful temple. And the first Aarti, rest, everyone will move to different bodies. No one lives that long. But Brahma, you should oversee that when this form as Nila Madhava disappears and another form appears, you should install that form and help King Indradyumna. Brahma agreed. So when the sages are discussing this in the Skanda Puran about this history of this land, at that time other sages asked, you said King Indradyumna? What about him? Who is he and how did Brahma help him? So the sages continued discussing that King Indradyumna was actually a very noble, virtuous, magnanimous king. He was the storehouse of all good transcendental qualities. But again, he was disappointed with the same anxiety that Brahma was distressed and disappointed about. How will the living beings of this world get liberated? King Indradyumna, he was expressing his heart in great sorrow that I have everything as a king. But unfortunately, it's all short-lived because very soon I will leave this body as a king and God knows where I will be born. But now, why to get realized, completely self-realized and God-realized? I want liberation. So how do I find liberation? So when King Indradyumna was contemplating like this with sincerity, Janasya Krishnat Vimukhasya Daivat Adharmashila Sudukhitasya Anugrahayeha Charanti Nonam Bhutani Bhavyani Janardhanasya. The Bhagavatam describes that when living beings become sincere, Krishna sends empowered teachers to intercept their lives so that that hunger of sincere inquisitiveness can be filled in with transcendental wisdom given by the sages. Also, the Bhagavatam describes Bhavatvida Bhagavata Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibho Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani Swantasthena Gadabrataha. That living beings, when they develop sincerity, the sages move. But even when they are not sincere, the great sages come and try to intercept their path, to do good fortune, to bring in good future for those living beings. So when King Indradyumna was sitting and pondering on these points, a sage came and visited him. And when King Indradyumna asked this question, I am a king and I am endowed with all good qualities materially, but I am really disappointed because I don't know the way out to liberation. How would I get free from the shackles of birth and death? So the sage at that point describes the glories of Purushottam Kshetra from the Skanda Purana. You see, "O king, you don't have to worry. There is this beautiful deity of Nila Madhava along with Lakshmi Devi. And any living being who finds his place to Purushottam Kshetra, finds his route to Purushottam Kshetra, and takes darshan of this divine couple form of Radha and Krishna as Nila Madhava and Lakshmi Devi, that living being will not enter another mother's womb again. He will get liberated at the end of his life." So King Indra, light which entered the dark cave of his life. So now where do I find this Purushottam Kshetra? How do I find? So King Indradyumna sent his very dear spiritual brother and minister in the form of Vidyapati, this tract of land. Vidyapati became very interested in doing this, executing this project, but it was very difficult. As he walked through different terrains and different tracts of land, he got confused. And he came to one point where he heard uh, a group of tribal men talking amongst each other. And the tribe was called as Shrabaras. So they were discussing about the worship of Nila Madhava. So Vidyapati was very happy. It's almost like life entered the dead body of his lost hopes. He was thinking that if these tribal people are speaking about Nila Madhava, they would definitely know where the deity of Nila Madhava is, which means I am very close to my cherished, desired destination and my goal of finding this deity. So he went and approached them and asked them about this deity. So they asked for more details about his personality and his origin. Vidyapati mentioned that I am actually the minister of King Indradyumna. So the head of the tribal group, whose name was Vishwavasu, he became very concerned because according to the legends, his forefathers had told and passed down generations that Nila Madhava would very quickly, very soon disappear when a king comes searching for him. So they were now in a fork. What do we do? Do we let Vidyapati take darshan of Nila Madhava, which means he would go and tell the king, and the king getting to know about Nila Madhava is a red flag right there for us? Or another perspective is, here is a living being who wants to see the deity of Nila Madhava and get liberated. So why stop him on the path of liberation? So they said, yes, we will give you darshan, but at the same time, we will want to protect his, we want to keep him safe and protect Nila Madhava. So the way the way we work it out is, we will take you blindfolded so that you don't know the route through which we take you. Yet at the same time, when we reach the destination, we'll unfold, and then you can take darshan. Vidyapati agreed. He was actually very intelligent. Although he was blindfolded, he continued to drop seeds which would, germinate in times to come. So he wanted to keep dropping seeds on the path so that although he doesn't know the way to Nila Madhava, by the time he returns back to the king and the king puts his entourage and comes in a few months, these seeds by sunlight and rainwater would shoot up and they would become plants. And just by seeing the plants growing of a specific seed or the specific type of the plant, Vidyapati would get to know that this has been a movement towards reaching deity of Nila Madhava. So although he was blindfolded, he dropped the seeds, as intelligent as he was. And finally, the blindfold was taken in front of Nila Madhava. Vidyapati became ecstatic. He was so happy seeing Nila Madhava. Stories even continue to say that Vishwavasu, he felt very happy with Vidyapati and he offered his daughter Lalita in marriage to Vidyapati. Vidyapati comes back to King Indradyumna, mentions about this land and the happenings there, and he comforted King Indradyumna, saying that although this land is very difficult to find and the darshan of Neela Madhava and Lakshmi dominated by now to fruits of the plant. So therefore we can follow that and we can have darshan. King Indradyumna felt very proud of Vidyapati's cleverness and his wit as to how he used his best intellectual prowess at that point of uncertainty. To be a very auspicious sign, because whenever Narad Muni intercepts anyone's life, that devotee is sure to get Krishna. Narad Muni intercepted the life of Dhruva, Dhruva got Krishna. Narad Muni intercepted the life of Kayadu, who was holding Prahlad in her womb. And Prahlad attentively heard the instructions of Narad Muni, and Prahlad got Krishna. Dhruva got Krishna, Prahlad got Krishna. Narad Muni intercepted the path of Mani, Griv and Nala Kuvera, the two sons of Kuber, and they got Krishna. In fact, they were trees who were blessed to be in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj. Narad Muni even blessed Vyasadev, and Vyasadev was empowered to give Bhagavatam, which is again Krishna. Narad Muni intercepted Valmiki Muni, and Valmiki Muni Ramchandra in the famous Valmiki Ramayana, and countless other examples like Murari and so on and so forth. So when Narad Muni comes, it's certainly a very auspicious sign that very soon we are going to see the Supreme Lord face to face. King Indradyumna welcomed Narad Muni. Narad Muni spoke Hari Katha and even glorified Neela Madhava. King Indradyumna felt very happy. He told Narad Muni, we are on our way, setting off from this place. We are on our way, because King Indra at that time was ruling a province called as Avanti in North India. So said, from here, we are taking our whole kingdom, all of our residents to Purushottam Kshetra. So Narad Muni, please kindly come with us. And Narad Muni was very pleased and he felt himself blessed and privileged to join this entourage. As they continued walking, King Indradyumna entered Utkala, the province of Utkala. And the king of Utkala, he came to welcome King Indradyumna because he was a smaller king. King Indradyumna was a very powerful king. So that king of Utkala province, he came and he offered his obeisances to King Indradyumna and said, my dear king, I am very happy that you're on your way to find Neela Madhava, but I have a very bad news. There was a cyclone and Neela Madhava. Indradyumna almost fainted unconscious in disbelief. How is it possible that I'm so unfortunate that when I'm on my way, Neela Madhav has decided to hide his face and hide his personality and not give me darshan? Narad Muni nursed him back to spiritual health by saying, to see the form of the Lord, you just need eyes which are anointed with the mascara of divine love. You just develop affection for him and the Supreme Lord will appear before you. King Indradyumna musters some courage and hope and starts marching, and he enters the province of Bhubaneswar, which we know in Orissa. So as he enters Bhubaneswar, he asks Narad Muni, what is the glories of this land? And Narad Muni starts describing that this land belongs to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva created the city of Kashi for the pleasure of his eternal consort and wife, Mother Parvati. And however, being very detached as he is, although he created Kashi, the city of Kashi, out of his meditation, he gave it to a king, installed a king on the throne of Kashi. And he, along with his wife, Mother Parvati, they came back to live under the shade of a tree. Now, this king was called as Kashi Raj, and he was best friends with an impostor by the name Paundraka Vasudev. Now, Prabhupada explains in the Krishna book how this Paundraka Vasudev was actually very envious of Krishna. He would dress up like Krishna, he would act like Krishna. In fact, he even wrote a letter to Krishna saying that I am the actual one, you're the fake one. the chakra that you're holding is actually mine. Give it back to me. Krishna read the letter and he laughed. So he said, okay, you want my chakra kit? And Krishna sent the chakra. And of course, the chakra came in and took off the head of Panduranga Vasudev because he couldn't hold the chakra. So the chakra finished him. And now it started chasing Kashi Raja, the king of Kashi, who was best friends with Panduranga Vasudev. It slit his neck too. He was beheaded. His head went flying into the city of Kashi. And actually the son of Kashi Raj by the name Sudakshina, when he saw the mutilated head coming down, he was convinced it is the head of Krishna. But when he saw that it's actually his own father with bedecked jeweled earrings on his ear, the son of Kashi Raj, he couldn't hold his emotions. He started weeping and crying, and he called out to Kashinath, the Lord of Kashi, Vishwanath, or Shiva, and said, this city belongs to you. My father belongs to you. I belong to you. We are all worshippers and residents of Kashi. This Krishna has destroyed not just my father, but his best friend, Panduranga Vasudev. So, Lord Shiva, you being the Lord of Kashi, we want your help in fighting Krishna. Lord Shiva being so merciful towards those who take shelter of his lotus feet, he said, okay, I will take sides with you and let's attack Dwarka and destroy Krishna. These were the words of Lord Shiva, because Lord Shiva was completely overpowered by emotions of affection for his devotees. So he just was flowing in the river of that love. So Lord Shiva, along with the son of Kashi Raj, which is Sudakshina, he attacked Dwarka, and Krishna defeated everyone. And when Lord Shiva fell at the feet of Krishna, Krishna smiled at Lord Shiva with sarcasm, with anger, and said, Lord Shiva, you announce yourself as a Vaishnava. In fact, Shastra says, Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhu. You're the best among Vaishnavas, but it seems like no one hates me as much as you do. You act as my friend and my devotee, but you're taking sides with my opponent, trying to destroy me. Lord Shiva fell at the feet of Krishna and said, my Lord, I have nothing against you personally, but I was just completely overpowered with affection and emotions and love and devotion for my devotees. And I'm sorry, my Lord, I got illusioned. Please kindly forgive me and punish me so that I never take this prominent position. Let me always be your servant. Let me always stand at your doorstep and protect the dham. In this way, I will always be humble and I will never challenge you. Krishna smiled and benedicted Lord Shiva that wherever I am existing in the form of my eternal abode, you stand outside that dham, protecting the dham as a dikpal or doorkeeper, as someone who protects the dham. So we see in Vrindavan, in the tract of land of Vrindavan, in the holy land of Vrindavan, Lord Shiva is present as Gopeshwar Mahadev. We see in Nandagram, he's present as Nandishwar Mahadev. And at Govardhan, he's present as Chakleshwar Mahadev. At Radhakund, he's present as Kundeshwar Mahadev. At Kamva, he's present as Kameshwar Mahadev. Icheshwar Mahadev, Aseshwar Mahadev, Kundeshwar Mahadev, so many Mahadevs in Vrindavan. They're all the order carrier. They're all the doorkeepers protecting the dham. So Lord Shiva is the one who decides who's going to enter the land and who's going to exit. Vrindavanam, it has been so beautifully described that this land of Vrindavanam is Soma Soma, Mole Sanandana Sanatana Naradetya, Gopishwara Vrajavilasi Yugangri Padme Prema Prayacha Nirupadi Namo Namaste. That, O Gopeshwar Mahadev, O protector of Vrindavan, please kindly shower your causeless mercy on us so that we can develop some affection at the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna, the divine couple, who are the Lord of our lives. The lotus feet of Radha and Krishna are worshipped by Sanandana, Sanatana, Narada, all these great personalities. Vrindavana Vanipate Jaya Soma Soma. O Lord Shiva, please kindly benedict us with love for Radha Krishna. This is the prayer. Even in Mayapur Dham, Lord Shiva is the protector of the Dham as Harihara Kshetra. And then Narad Muni explained to King Indradyumna. Similarly, before Purushottam Kshetra, here in the land of Bhubaneswar, It is Bhuvaneshwar Mahadev, Lord Shiva, who's standing here. The city belongs to him. He's the doorkeeper guarding the dham of Purushottam Kshetra. So when this story was narrated, they all took shelter, and all the devotees led by Narad Muni and Indradyumna, they had darshan of Bhuvaneshwar Mahadev there. And Lord Shiva appeared to King Indradyumna and said, I bless you, you will have darshan of Nila Madhava. You don't worry. Absolutely don't worry. I heard he is dead. Lord Shiva said, you a which appear. You continue towards Purushottam Kshetra, and then you perform 1,000 yajnas, fire sacrifice, offering it to Narasimhadev. And then when Narasimhadev is pleased with you, Nila Madhav will give you darshan. He will appear. So King Indradyumna felt very happy. He found the deity of Narasimhadev, installed him on the altar. 1,000 yajnas. The day he performed it, that night in the dream, he saw Vaikuntha. And there he saw Vishnu smiling at him. When he woke up from that dream and his dream broke, he narrated the whole dream to Narada Muni. He told Narada Muni that I saw Vaikuntha, I saw the Supreme Lord smile at me. Narada Muni smiled and he said, yes, the Lord is smiling at you because he's happy with you. Intoxicating aromatic fragrance coming from the ocean. As they all rushed to the ocean, Narad Muni spotted a big log of wood with impressions of Shankar, the four symbols in the hand of Vishnu, namely the club, the disc, the lotus flower, Shankar, and the conch, four signs and symbols of protection. They were imprinted on this log of wood floating in the ocean surface. So King Indradyumna asked, what is this? And Narad Muni smiled and he said, the Supreme Lord who disappeared as Nila Madhava has now reappeared in complete happiness, satisfied by your devotional service. He has appeared in the The form of the Lord when he appears in the form of wood is called as Daru Brahman. So King Indradyumna, you please kindly accept this wood and give him to Vishwakarma, the celestial architect of Indra. He will carve out the Supreme Lord's, worship him. He's none different from Nila Madhava. King Indradyumna felt very happy. Vishwakarma asked 2 to 3 weeks of seclusion. He said, I want to work in seclusion. Nobody should even hear the chiseling sound. And if someone hears and tries to interrupt my work, then I will just leave it half done. So King Indradyumna said, no one will just. And it was 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it was a little over the time. So King Indradyumna felt very restless transcendentally. And some stories describe he went to sea, and some stories describe his queen went to sea. Either case, both went to sea, and they went in to see what Vishwakarma was doing. And Vishwakarma looked at the king and the queen, and they said, and he said, I'm going to stop my work. I told you you should. There's a certain concern that we had in our heart. We couldn't hear any sound. We were not sure whether you're still there doing it or you've left. So there's absolutely no sound coming in. So we were not sure. We just wanted to come and check. But Vishwakarma said, rules are rules. I will leave it right now as much as I've done. So King Indradyumna saw, and he saw half-finished models, 3 models of Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra with dilated eyes and contracted hands and smiling face. But this Lord, he didn't seem to have feet, and he seemed to be completely unfinished and incomplete as far as the work is concerned. So King Indradyumna started lamenting. He came at the lotus feet of Narada Muni and he said, "Oh Narada Muni, I feel so embarrassed that and because of restlessness, I couldn't stop myself but go and see. And Vishwakarma has finished it only half. He hasn't completed it. And I am feeling so miserable that we marched all the way. Oh Narada, you inspired me. I entered Utkala. The king told me that Lord has disappeared. You still helped me. Said just perform devotion and the Lord will reveal. Then we entered Bhubaneswar. You told me the history of Bhubaneswar. Bhubaneswar, Mahadev, Lord Shiva appeared. He took me to through instruction. He directed me towards Narasimhadev. I installed Narasimhadev on the altar, built a temple for him, performed 1,000 yajnas. The Lord was pleased with me, appeared in my dream. He came as wood. And under your auspices and shelter, Vishwakarma started carving. But I couldn't stop this. I was so impatient that I went and interrupted. And alas, the loss only happened. Mani sailed, and the forms offered his obeisances. And he told King Indradyumna, actually, these are the most completely perfect forms of the Lord. King Indradyumna inquired, how is it that these forms are complete? And please kindly explain. Narad Muni started describing the emotions that Krishna went through when he was in Dwaraka, in separation from the residents of Vrindavan after Krishna had stepped out of Vrindavan. As we all know, Krishna lived in Vrindavan for about 10 years and 6 months, and then he stepped out to Mathura to kill Kamsa, release his parents, Devaki, Vasudev. And then till the age of 28, Krishna lived in Mathura, defeating Jarasandha 70 times and killing so many other demons also. Then Krishna transferred himself to Dwaraka and he ruled there as the king of Dwaraka. But however, the impressions that he received in his affectionate heart in the form of the loving sentiments of the residents of Vrindavan, those impressions were so strong that no love of Mathura or Dwaraka could even come close to it. Krishna remember his days in Vrindavan, how in Vrindavan every tree loved Krishna, how there was not a single fruit that Krishna had not eaten, not a single tree that Krishna had not climbed. There's not a single shade under the tree that had not soft in the afternoon and taken his nap. There's not a single flower from these trees that Krishna had not taken to decorate himself. How much the trees loved Krishna. They would move. Externally, it seemed as if it was moving by breeze, but they were feeling so happy that Krishna had accepted the flute, which was actually a resident of the family coming from the wood of the tree. So the tree was thinking, here's one fortunate, stand in one place and wait for Krishna to come to us. But our family member, the flute made out of the bamboo, is the bamboo flute, is so fortunate. He doesn't have to stand like us waiting for Krishna. Krishna carries the flute wherever he goes. The flute gets day and night with Krishna. The gopas get the day with Krishna. The gopis get the night with Krishna. But the flute gets day and night with Krishna. How fortunate is our member, the family member in the form of the flute, that what we are not able to achieve, the flute is achieving. In happiness, the trees move. Krishna's in Dwaraka, lamenting and remembering all those trees. He's remembering all the birds with whom Krishna sang songs. Krishna would harmonize with the birds. He would chirp with the parrots. He would sing with the cuckoos. He would dance with the peacocks. He would jump the shadow of the flying birds. He would sometimes yell into a well, and he would shout nasty things into a well. And when the echo would be nasty, Krishna would laugh, and he would tell all this well is a very nasty well because this well is shouting out swear words. So in this way, Krishna was remembering all those beautiful days. Krishna was remembering his friends, how he, along with his friends, they would play this game of shooting down fruit from the air. Krishna would throw the stone at the fruit and it would miss the fruit. Krishna would get sad. And then he asked his friends, now you go for it. You're better than me. How is it that you're so good? Can you teach me? That's how much the friends controlled Krishna's heart with their genuine affection. Krishna would wrestle with his friends. He would play hide and seek with his friends. He would sing with his friends. The friends would decorate and have face painting, as Krishna's beautiful face was like a canvas, where they would use natural organic paints from the forest and have gopa dots and make different fish designs on Krishna's cheek. Krishna's cheek is like reflective, is as clean as a reflective mirror. The friends would look at Krishna's cheek and do shringar for themselves. They would decorate themselves. The friends are so dear to Krishna. And Krishna started Dwarka. Krishna started remembering the love of his mother, where although Krishna loves his friends so much, but when the mother would call out, Krishna would give up his. Please don't put me to sleep all alone on my bed, mother. I feel so scared. Can I sleep with you on your bed? Oh, mother, please kindly help me. Don't leave me alone. And Mother Yashoda would embrace me, say, "Oh, dear Krishna, I will never leave you." Just wanted to ask the devotees. I'm getting is breaking, and this audio cracking a bit, and there's also a delay or there's a lag. What do the devotees think? Is there a suggestion? Is this what other devotees are also experiencing?
Amarendra, that's coming on and off. I think it's fine. There is sometimes it's happening in the between, but overall, good.
Okay, okay. I'll just carry on to the best of what we can. So Krishna in Dwaraka was remembering his mother, how Mother Yashoda would feed him freshly churned butter, how Mother Yashoda would make the best of sweets for Krishna, how Mother Yashoda would very lovingly tie his dhoti, how Mother Yashoda would bathe Krishna. That Krishna, it is described by Mangala Thakur in Krishna Charitamrita. Yadroma randa pipurtha vidhava daksham. Pore of his body, every hair pore of his body was so wide that all the waters of this creation can fit into one pore of his body. That's how gigantically that's how humongously gigantic Varahadev was. But that same Lord, when he appears as Krishna, Mother Yashoda would take water in the cups of her palms and bathe him 3 times and say, "Okay, come out of the bathroom. You're done with your bathing." So Bilva Mangal Thakur says, how glorious is Mother Yashoda that she can give Krishna bath with the water cup between her palms. Mother Yashoda's love for Krishna is so much that one Acharya writes that Krishna, when he lifted Govardhan, he was remembering his avatar as Varahadev. Because when he lifted Mother Earth as Varahadev, everyone glorified him. They in fact glorified his strength. So Krishna was thinking, when I lift Govardhan, everyone will glorify me. But when Krishna lifted Govardhan, there was there was a opposite contradictory emotion in Vrindavan. Instead of thinking, oh, how glorious, how wonderful, Krishna is so strong, instead Yashoda started becoming so afraid. She ordered all the gopas, my Krishna is getting tired. All of you put your cowherd sticks under the mountain so that Krishna does not have to hold the mountain all by himself. You plainly support him. So that was Mother Yashoda's love. She would never believe that Krishna is Bhagavan. Please point to your face, and Krishna would point to his face. Krishna, now point to your eyes, and Krishna would point. Krishna, now point to your nose, and Krishna would point. Oh Krishna, where are your ears? And Krishna would point. And in this way, every part of Krishna's body, Mother Yashoda would ask for, and Krishna would point. That Lord creates these senses, he is answering to his mother that his mother is testing if he can identify the senses that he himself has created. This is the love of Mother Yashoda. So Krishna in he's being is remembering Mother Yashoda's love. And then even higher, he's remembering the love of the gopis of Vrindavan. When Krishna on the banks of the Yamuna river on the full moon night of Sharat Purnima, under the shade of the Krishna played, all gopis came in there, and then Krishna left them, and the gopis helplessly chanted the Gita and bound him with the ropes of their true devotional affection. Krishna remembered all those gopis, how they were ready to give up everything. They were ready to give up their husbands. They were ready to give up their homes. They were ready to give up their children. They were ready to give up all their duties and responsibilities only to serve Krishna. Krishna brooks no competitor. We can't have Krishna sit in the consciousness where we have broken furniture of our material desires. We have to take all that broken furniture of material desires out and keep Krishna exclusively. He can play around in the courtyard of our consciousness. That is the love of the gopis. And even higher is the love of Srimati Radharani. Krishna tells Arjuna in the Adi Puran, which has been quoted in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Trailokyam Prithvi Dhanya Tatra tu Vrindavana Puri Tatra tu Gopika Pata Tatra Radha Vidhamama. Krishna is telling Arjuna that Trailokyam Prithvi Dhanya, out of the three worlds, Mother Earth is glorious. Yatra Vrindavana Puri, there is Vrindavan. But in Vrindavan, Tatu Gopikam Partha, the highest position occupied in my heart are that of the gopis. Why? Yatra Radha Avidhamama, because there is the Srimati Radharani, who is the heartbeat of Radharaman Sri Krishna. Is described very beautifully by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in the 4th chapter of Adi Lila. I'll request the devotees to kindly read that. It's very, very sweet and beautiful. So Krishna in Dwaraka is remembering all these associates up to Radharani, all the different residents of Vrindavan. And even when he's tossing and turning on the bed, and Satyabhama and Jambavati and Nagnachiti and Lakshmana and all these names, Krishna actually saying Radhe, 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 Radhe. He's calling out to the names of Radharani. So as we know, the residents of Dwaraka were really confused what is happening to Krishna. So as Krishna was chanting these names and remembering Vrindavan, he just fainted. He fainted and no one could revive him back to consciousness. So Balaram and Uddhava and Brahmaji, they all decided that we have to revive Krishna back to his consciousness. And he's so much in separation from Vrindavan that we have to create a Vrindavan here. So calling out to Vishwakarma, they said, please kindly create a new Vrindavan, a Nava Vrindavan, a new garden of Vrindavan here in Dwaraka. And we want to send Krishna there so that Krishna can crafted, he very beautifully created this new Vrindavan, this Vrindavan of Vrindavan in Dwaraka. There, immediately, Krishna's attire changed. They changed clothing, took all the armor out, and they put the peacock feather, they took a flute in his waist. And then, when Krishna woke up, he came left, right, center. He started running. He said, "Oh, I am in Vrindavan. Oh, why did I have believed that I was some king somewhere?" And everyone, all the residents of Dwaraka are hiding behind groves and looking at Krishna and Balaram. So Balaram, of course, knows the truth. Frolicking like a new calf whose doors have been opened to pasture grounds. Krishna is running and he looks at different residents of Vrindavan. Actually, it's not Vrindavan. Those are the residents that Vishwakarma has created. He's just made different models. He's just made different statues. And they're all still. So Krishna's running to his friends and saying, "Please talk to me. I'm sorry I couldn't keep my promise. I told you I will come back in a day, but I'm sorry I couldn't come back. But I'm here. That was all just a bad dream. I never left you. In the dream, all that happened. I'm sorry. I will never do that even in my dream. But the friends won't talk because they were statues. Then Krishna went to Mother Yashoda and said, Maya, oh Maya, do you know I had this bad dream where I was somewhere outside in a big city and I was having no butter. And I was remembering have even a dream come between you and oh Maya, oh Mother Yashoda, I belong to you. Please kindly talk to me. But they won't talk. Now he's running, finding all the gopis, and he finds Srimati Radharani. He looks at Srimati Radharani and he tells Srimati Radharani, he holds the chin of Srimati Radharani and says, you will talk to me. Why won't you talk to me? Oh, are you angry with me that in my dream I married 16,108 queens? Don't worry, that's just a dream. It's a bad dream. But actually, in reality, I am in Vrindavan with you. And then Krishna's walking around and then he sees Govardhan and he sees different Kalpavriksha trees and he sees cows, but they're all still, but he's still frolicking out of this bad dream. But then he looks at an ocean and he says, Vrindavan doesn't have an ocean. Vrindavan has Yamuna. Why is there an ocean? So Balaram said, actually, this is Yamuna. Yamuna is overflowing like an ocean because you came out of that bad dream. Krishna also is very happy. He does Achman at the Yamuna, which is actually the ocean shore in Dwarka. And then from a distance, Krishna sees and he can see tall constructions and he can see big palaces. Krishna looks at Balaram and says, from when did we have such big palaces in Vrindavan? Vrindavan is a village. Where do we have these big downtown Vrindavan? Where do we see these sky-rise buildings and these constructions? Where is it coming from? Balaram is right. There's pin drop silence. Krishna looks at Balaram holding his hand. Oh, Dal Bhaiya. Oh, brother, please tell me. Please save my life. Am I in Vrindavan thinking that this is Dwarka? Or am I in Dwarka thinking that this is Vrindavan? Oh, brother, please tell me. Is this a dream that I'm thinking to be reality? Or is this reality which I want to forget as a dream? Please tell me, oh brother, what is it? So Balaram speaks the whole truth and says, Krishna, you are actually in Dwarka. And you are finding so much separation from Vrindavan that we had to do all this to restore your life air back into your body. And slowly, one after another, all the associates of Dwarka come out. They were witnessing so much love and emotion that Krishna has. And as they looked at Krishna and Krishna looked at them, Krishna put his head down, hung his head down with a sigh of grief that he's not in Vrindavan, where unfortunately he's far, far away. So Krishna continues through these pangs of separation in Dwarka. And these queens, they see his love for Vrindavan, but they don't know why, because the other side are all just statues. They didn't see. They just saw Krishna's heart. They didn't hear the heart of the Brajvasis. So they had an Ishtagoshi. They had a there in Vrindavan, who's now there in Dwaraka. They asked her different questions. What is this Vrindavan, where you don't even give footwear to Krishna? Now here in Dwaraka, he has such jeweled footwear. But in Vrindavan, you don't even give him footwear and he has to run behind cows without footwear, stamping on, climbing on rocks and sharp grass and shoots. What is this? Then another queen said, where is this Vrindavan where you don't give him anything to eat? So poor Krishna has to eat mud. And then when you stop him, he finds butter in another person's house. You don't give it in your house. He has to eat mud. When he goes out, then you scold him and you bind him to a wooden grinding mortar. What kind of land is this? So Rohini smiled and she said, the conception of God is Aishwarya, is opulent with awe and reverence. Vrindavan, that God forgets that he is God because he's overwhelmed with, in a positive way, with transcendental effect of the residents of Vrindavan. They love Krishna so much with spontaneous affection that it eclipses all the and reverence. Not that in Vrindavan there's no awe and reverence, there's no opulence like that of Dwarka. Rohini explained, millions and millions of Dwarakas put together cannot come together to equate their position to one stone, one pebble in Vrindavan, which is way more opulent. But all of that opulence in Vrindavan is eclipsed by the overflooding tide, the overflooding cyclone, the overflooding tsunami of the affection of these. They take over the heart of Krishna to such an extent that they forget that Krishna is God. Krishna forgets that he is God. And there is spontaneously sweet, selfless, uninterrupted love. As Rohini is speaking all this, she had warned the queens that we don't want Krishna to hear all this, because his affection for Brajvasis and the Vrindavan is so deep that he's anyway thinking and meditating on running back to Vrindavan. If he hears all this, he will leave you forever. So just so that you want to protect your Krishna with yourself, just stop him from hearing this. Because hearing this, even for you and me, who are in Kali Yuga, hearing this whets our appetite for having affection for Krishna, following the footsteps of the Brajbasis. What to speak of Krishna, who's actually tasting it? So they kept Subhadra outside as a doorkeeper, so that she can knock the door if Krishna and Balaram find their way. But Subhadra herself became so absorbed hearing this Vraja Lila Katha, the descriptions of the love of the residents of Vrindavan, that little did she notice that Krishna and Balaram were actually side to side, next to her, listening with the same mood of absorption. And as Krishna, Balaram and Subhadra were listening to this ecstatic narration of Rohini Devi describing the love of Srimati Radharani and Gopis and Mother Yashoda and Nanda Baba and the friends and every blade of grass of Vrindavan, Krishna's eyes, Balaram's eyes, Subhadra's eyes dilated in happiness. As big as it could, the smile went from ear to ear. His hands went down into his body, trembling in happiness. He was almost, but it was going inward towards his heart. And as he was feeling this ecstatic emotions, Narada Muni knows the right art of being in the right place at the right time all the time. All the places, wherever it is. Narada Muni came there and he started screaming in happiness, I have seen this, I have seen this, I have seen this. So Krishna, Balaram and Subhadra, they came out of ecstasy. It was almost like a rasantara, a change of topic. So they came out of ecstasy and they asked Narada Muni, what happened? Narada Muni said, I have seen how Krishna, Balaram and Subhadra, Jagannath, Baladeva, Subhadra, they looked from their devotees. Jagannath said, oh, this is a very confidential thing. Krishna said, it's a very confidential thing. Nobody wants us. Nobody wants to see us. Or let's say, nobody wants to reveal their inner secrets to others. The emotions that we have, we share it with our close, near and dear ones. We don't publicly put it out. We don't share it with everyone. So Krishna said, no, Narada, you have a habit of speaking in all the planets. You should keep quiet. Don't tell anyone this is what's happening in our heart. Narada Muni said, no, my Lord, it's my duty to speak about you. Sign this deal with you that you're going to keep quiet. Narada Muni said, yes, I will keep quiet if you give me a benediction. The benediction is the form that I have seen, that form the whole world should see. So the Supreme Lord agreed. That same Narada Muni now was telling King Indradyumna, this is exactly the form that I saw in Dwaraka. The form that Vishwakarma here has finished, what you term as half finished, is what I am seeing as the most complete manifestation. Krishna, when he plays his flute, he is certainly complete. But when he goes through his ecstatic movements, his ecstatic motions of separation from his devotee, is actually more complete now. Because before, his form is attracting their love. But when his heart is completely drenched with their love, his form is secondary, but his heart is bursting with love. That is primary. So this form is actually really complete. So you should install this form as Jagannath, Balaram and Subhadra, the Lord of the universe with his brother and sister. Please kindly build a big temple for them and worship them. So when King Indradyumna established this temple in Purushottam Kshetra. This place was called as Jagannath Puri. Puri means the city, and Jagannath means the Lord of the universe. And as we remember in the start of the story, Nila Madhava had mentioned that Brahma should help King Indradyumna. So it is described that King Indradyumna was advised by Narada Muni that you should ask help from Brahma for the first ever arati to Jagannath. So King Indradyumna went up with Narada Muni to Brahmaloka, and Brahma was chanting some prayer, so it took a minute or two for him to come. And then Brahma came down. Had passed according to the relativity theory of relativity as far as time is concerned. So there was another king who battled him and told him, actually, I was there before you came. I had to go, therefore you came here. And then took over this place, and King Indradyumna gave this opportunity to Lord Brahma. Brahma offered the first arati to Jagannath, Baladev and Subhadra, and he announced that Nila Madhava personally told me first 50 years of my life he will be present as Nila Madhava, but then later he will disappear and reappear as Jagannath, and King Indradyumna will install him, and I have to help him. And I can see that fulfillment. King Indradyumna, your life is perfect because now you have seen Nila Madhava reappear as Jagannath. Anyone who comes to this land of Jagannath Puri and takes darshan of Jagannath will escape the repeated birth and death. So now this land of Jagannath Puri is really ecstatic because it not just gives freedom from problems as mukti, but in Mahaprabhu's Lila, it is the explosion of bhakti. Why? Because Krishna knows only half the side of the story. In Dwarka, Krishna is going through his pangs of separation from Radharani. But in Vrindavan, from Krishna, she is crying and weeping. Her hands are getting dislocated in separation from Krishna. Tears coming from her eyes, water coming from her nose. She's frothing and foaming through the mouth. Her complexion is changing. There's blood oozing from the pores of her body. Hair is standing on end. Teeth are chattering. There is a lump of emotion in her throat. Radharani is going through all these pangs of separation and finally unconscious. Krishna knows his side of the story where he is going through the pangs of separation and he becomes Jagannath. That is Krishna's side of story in separation from Radharani. Krishna in Dwarka, remembering Radharani in Vrindavan, becomes Jagannath. Those are his expressions. But the expressions that Radharani goes through, which is the major part of the separation story, that Krishna is unaware of. So when Krishna desires to know both sides of the coin, that is complete understanding of Jagannath Lila. Why now? Because Krishna takes the heart of Radharani, Krishna takes the mood of Radharani, Krishna takes the complexion of Radharani and appears as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes through pangs of ecstatic transformations, we must understand it is Krishna going through these motions of separation and ecstatic transformations because Krishna's body is going through the same pangs of emotions and separation that Radharani's heart went through when they were separated. When someone's body is electrocuted, he has no control over his body, and anyone whom he touches, that person also gets electrocuted. It's almost like a ghost haunting the person. So Krishna's body was going through these 440 volts of electric current. The electric current of Radharani is Madanakya Mahabhav, Radha Bhav. And when he was going through these expressions of devotion, that is the ecstatic eruptions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in Jagannath Puri in Kali Yuga, the story is complete. Why? Because Jagannath on the chariot is actually Krishna in Dwaraka, having separation from Radharani. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here is actually Krishna going through the pangs of separation of Radharani for Krishna. So in Dwapar Yuga, they knew only half the story. Radharani knew her story. She didn't see Jagannath. She didn't see what Krishna went through. And Krishna knew only half the story. His portion as Jagannath, but he didn't see the transformative, ecstatic eruptions of Radharani's heart. But in Kali Yuga, both got to see each other when they are in separation. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at the Rath Yatra saw Jagannath started dancing in front of Jagannath. And he saw those big eyes and hands going in, highlighted eyes with this big smile on the face. It was Radharani's eyes receiving this fact. This is how my Krishna used to look when he would be in separation from me in Dwarka. And when Jagannath on the chariot wheel is looking at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, jumping like a mountain and falling like a bag of bones and rolling on the ground with blood coming from his face and tears like syringes splashing over the devotees around and falling unconscious, going through these ecstatic symptoms, teeth chattering so profusely that the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were thinking these teeth would actually leave the mouth someday. They would just break to pieces. So when Mahaprabhu is going through these symptoms of ecstasy, Jagannath from the cart is actually Krishna now perceiving this is what Radharani went through in Vrindavan while being in separation from me. So when Radharani in separation from Krishna and Chaitanya come face to face, this land of Jagannath Puri gets a name called as Vipralamba Kshetra, because two forms of separation get united in Kali Yuga. This is why there is dancing and singing. This Rath Yatra is not generally, the Rath Yatra is seen to be a place of festivity and pomp, but internally it's a mood of tears, and it's a mood of in separation from me has become like this. Radharani is thinking. And Krishna is thinking, oh, my Radha, in separation from me, look at what has happened to her. And all the devotees, they pull the Rath to unite that Chaitanya with that Jagannath, to unite that separation of Radha and Krishna by bringing them together, by pulling that Krishna in separation from Vrindavan into the Vrindavan of our heart. So this, when it erupts, you see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dance, and these are the movements of his heart. We've always heard the different Sankirtan parties that Mahaprabhu used to institute. Those are the external forms of the Rath Yatra. But Kaviraj Goswami explains the heart of the Rath Yatra. Therefore, in this discussion for about 90 minutes, I was trying to express a few thoughts on the inner heart, the inner mood of Rath Yatra, where Rath Yatra is actually union after eternal separation. Where in Treta Yuga, Jagannath, in Satya, Treta and Dwapar, Jagannath Darshan was only giving us freedom from repeated birth and death. But here, because of the introduction of Gaura Lila, anyone who is looking at this beautiful eye-to-eye union meeting of Jagannath and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is blessed, not just with liberation, but with eternal love of Godhead. Thank you so much. I pass on the call back to our Karuna Gauranga Prabhu, and I profusely thank all the devotees for kindly joining in. Please kindly forgive me if I was speaking too fast, or if I was speaking things which were, not properly in sync, either through technology or because of my shortcoming in my thought process. Please kindly forgive me for any shortcoming, philosophically, or on the basis of presentation or the usage of words. But if there was any discussion which painted the canvas of your heart with the colors of the emotions of the separation felt in the heart of the Brajbasis, then this is the inherited property of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas coming down generations. This is nothing to do with me. I'm simply like your family member trying to share my heart in this regard. So, dear Karuna Gauranga Prabhu and other superiors, please kindly take over the call and kindly shower your blessings on me so that I can improve.
Amarendra Prabhu, for this amazing journey. I think we should have a 3-day katha on the story of Jagannath Ji. I'm sure you just gave us a glimpse, an overview. This lecture will be available, and all the Bhagavat-Sravana talks are available on our YouTube channel, which I've just posted in the chat window, along with the link for joining the newsletter. Next week, Rasnath Prabhu will continue the Jagannath Puri Rath Yatra theme. Grace, which is also an amazing story. Thank you all so much. And once again, Amarendra, thank you so much. Hope we can have you back soon. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Amarendra ji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amarendra Prabhu. Hare Krishna.